Wonderful, wonderful open mic. I mean, so many voices, so many things, so many stories. And I'm so glad to have Heather as our feature. Heather is a well regarded poet whose empathy for those struggling for recognition, acceptance, and the freedom to enjoy their inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is remarkable and renowned. Heather has been performing for over 30 years, featured at Beast Crawl, the Sand City West End Festival, Brooklyn Wildlife, the Pacific Grove Arts Center, the Monterey Peninsula Pride Festival, and the Henry Miller Library. Also curated Words, the Direct Action Monterey Network, Networking Out Loud, Blackthorn Winter, and others. She has performed in three separate 3-hour shows featuring original material as well as performing at many open mics. She has 2 books, One Foot on the Ground and Another Crazy Trans Woman. She wrote as well as starred in a play, Daughters of Nothing, which was produced at the Paper Wing Theater to great acclaim in 2017. A wonderful voice, a powerful writer, and I'm going to mute me and pass the mic to Heather.
Thank you, Dan. Well, it's an honor to be here again. This is my third time featuring at Sacred Grounds. I love this place, and I'll just jump right in. This piece is called Mandatory. Cries of Alleluia spring from the throats of the seraphim, resonating across paradise, filling every corner. The seraphim adore God as no other beings can. Their pedestals are taller, their faces come much closer. While others merely think of God and express the love he requires, seraphim embody their holy duty beyond all reason or limit. They supply the unending adoration their God has always demanded, a jealous God, an angry God, willing to annihilate entire peoples for the crime of worshiping someone else. Alleluia! He created the seraphim, the highest rank of angels, the jewel in the crown of the heavenly court, whose purpose is to adore him constantly, to behold his majesty with their myriad eyes, like staring into a supernova, no way to avert their gaze, no eyelids to blink or shut. Hallelujah! They bring forth total reverence with every fiber of their minds and emotions, swallowing whole the overwhelming spectacle with no other feelings permissible, and singing God's praises continuously and perpetually with no pause or intermission conceivable. Hallelujah! Locked into their celestial sphere, enmeshed in the inexorable grinding of sacred metaphysical machinery, as focused as dancers on the head of a pin, their function as unquestionable as the authority of their maker, their status most exalted, their subjection most complete. Hallelujah. And despite the best efforts they provide, their love has never been enough for its infinite omnipotent recipient, and in no way can it ever be. They will never come close to satisfying him, like trying to fill a bottomless pit, one vow at a time. Hallelujah. It is habit. It is affliction. It is extortion. It is a pattern that cuts them to their very core, knowing at any instant it may be judged inadequate, knowing their existence is an eternal balancing on a knife edge, knowing nothing they ever do will ever secure their safety, providing love for a God whose heart is as empty as his promises. But the seraphim cannot leave, and they cannot scream. And so they adore. Thank you. Okay, here's the next one. This piece is called June 1995. I parked my bike behind a pine tree and slipped through a gap in the chain link fence. I walked down the slope to the bottom of the path where the asphalt vanishes under the sand. I can see across the interior of the pit, and no one else is here. Occasionally before I've seen footprints, but the pit has officially been closed since the gravel ran out. I approached the central feature of this strange and hidden realm, an old diesel-powered industrial conveyor, a massive gray steel mechanism stretching 60 feet from end to end, with a thick, flat rubber belt angling upwards so it could dump a fresh load of rock into the bed of each heavy truck that pulled up underneath it. The conveyor still stands, abandoned by its corporation and left in the center of this giant hole, an inert apparatus rising incongruously out of a landscape almost completely flat and featureless. I walk up to the side of this metal colossus and run my fingertips across its weather-beaten surface. I place the toe of my boot onto a solid foothold, take a deep breath, and climb onto the machine. The wide, black, steel mesh reinforced conveyor belt is hot to the touch from absorbing the summer sunlight. Very hot, but not quite painful. I crawl upwards and flop down on my back about 15 feet above the sandy floor. I slide the remains of a joint out of my pocket, spark it up, and take a large hit. The weed begins to fill my brain, and I take my Walkman headphones off of my neck, place them over my ears, and press play to sample a new cassette by an alternative rock band from Los Angeles called Mary's Danish. A swirling surge of psychedelic guitars washes into my brain, and I go away. My body is being cooked by the sun overhead and the conveyor belt underneath, but this is now as things should be, and thinking about it is not necessary. I go away, and everything is different. Everything is secret and mysterious, unexpected, uninspected, undetected, layers and levels and bubbling and surging, bridges and edges and twistings and turnings, the sand and the sea, and I'm no longer me. The cassette halts with a loud click, and I open my eyes. The heat has so completely permeated my body that there is no distinction between me and anything else. I'm at peace here, though I actually shouldn't be. Nothing here should be like this at all. Once there was a thriving ecosystem across this exact spot. Douglas firs, maples, oaks, berries, briars, ferns, and grasses. But thousands of years ago, the glaciers brought the boulders, and a few decades ago, the boulders brought the corporation. It started large-scale gravel extraction, stripping and discarding everything it didn't want and stealing everything it did. And it dug this huge cavity in the heart of a healthy forest, and it ripped and carved and gouged until the project was no longer profitable. So it cleared out the trucks and the bulldozers and power shovels and left the site behind, empty and barren. A stark contrast to a site just down the road that is still extremely active, the town dump. For many years, both locations were hotbeds of activity, two neighboring giant holes in the ground operating in counterpoint, one of which provided a constant supply of natural resources to be extracted and carried away, the other of which received a constant stream of former natural resources to be discarded in ever-growing garbage heaps. Now the gravel pit is exhausted and empty, except for the mighty conveyor. No more use for it, and not worth the cost of scrapping it. And still, it endures. It reaches out defiantly into the air, still intact even with no more rocks to haul. And it is pathetic, lying helplessly on the sand like a beached whale with gears and wheels that will never rotate again. I usually don't think much about it, but this summer is not like any other for me. I just flunked out of college after experiencing my first full-blown manic episode when I decided, with stubborn bipolar certainty, that going to class was optional. I failed. I skidded off the tracks that were laid out in front of me, the tracks that everyone assumed I would ride to success and prosperity, the tracks that were the only plan I ever had for my future. I am a failure, and failures are useless, and anything useless is abandoned. I know why I came here, and I know why I find this old steel machine so reassuring. I love the feel of its sheer bulk pressed against my body. The owners who cast it aside may think it doesn't have any value left, but it can hold me up, suspended above the ground without the slightest strain for as long as I wish to stay here. And that's what keeps me coming back. There's nothing else like it. I know this whole project has been really bad for the environment, but right now, that's not what I'm thinking about. Right now, the conveyor and I are just hanging out together, not hurting anyone. We have each other, and right now, nothing else matters. Thank you. Okay, this one's pretty intense. It's called Behind Bill. Like a classic horror movie monster, Bill keeps coming back. The perfect weapon always ready to be used against us again. Launched into legend by a blockbuster suspense thriller that swept the Oscars, dazzled the critics, and added new phrases to popular culture like fava beans and a nice Chianti. The movie gave us a living nightmare nicknamed Buffalo Bill. He is a crazy man who wants to be a woman. Clearly, this delusion that motivates him is an impossible goal, but he will go to any lengths to pursue it, no matter how awful. Buffalo Bill kidnaps women, punches women, strips women, imprisons women, starves women, tortures women, degrades and dehumanizes women, cuts off their skin, shoves insects down their throats, and dumps them like so much trash. Bill also stalks and tries to murder Jodie Foster's character, who's doing her best all on her own with the odds stacked against her. Bill makes his move, but the wannabe is no match for a real woman who fires 6 rounds into the fake woman, and we're all supposed to cheer. She eliminates the man who tried to assemble a woman costume from women's bodies. And yet the character of Bill himself is a costume, stitched together from a long and ugly history of Hollywood archetypes that exploit gender bending and gender anxiety to shock and disturb their audience. We're spoon fed an endless supply of movies like Psycho, Dressed to Kill, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Red Heat, Freebie and the Bean, Paratrain, Homicidal, Caprice, Sleepaway Camp, No Way to Treat a Lady, Ace Ventura, Rocky Horror, Myra Breckenridge, Freeway, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, and so on and so on and so on. We have spent a lifetime internalizing the rule they taught us. When a man in a movie dresses like a woman, one of two things is true. Either he's a buffoon, foolish but harmless, or else, surprise, he pulls out a knife and kills people. He pulls out a hatchet and kills people. He pulls out a cleaver or an ice pick or a straight razor and he kills a bunch of people. And Bill embodies all our worst fears rolled into one appalling package. But that was ancient history. Why do I let it bother me? Well, the problem with history is it repeats itself. If you're out and you're visible as a transgender woman and you're active and vocal on social media and you criticize someone else's transphobic comment or take issue with the latest anti-trans article or movie or book or TV show or video or song or commercial or business or policy or author who writes about teenage wizards, you're taking a risk. And if your luck is bad, you are screwed because here comes the brigade. A team of internet bros who mobilize at the sight of a convenient target, open their arsenals and launch their weapons, anti-trans memes with photos of Buffalo Bill, and captions that condense their hatred into maximum potency. One of the rites of initiation of coming out as a trans woman online is being hit with a volley of Buffalo Bill photos combined with the usual slurs and threats, all the bullshit those pathetic hate mongers create and share and modify and focus and streamline and intensify, each one carefully crafted to inflict the greatest possible pain. Dozens of pictures of Bill at once, or if you're really unlucky, hundreds, from empty profiles multiplying faster than you can possibly block them. Of course, the perpetrators never face consequences from the platform, though if you stand up for yourself and retaliate, you will get banned. I can't take them all on anyway. I can't spend that much time fighting assholes on the internet. The cowards hide behind their anonymity like they hide behind that photograph of Bill. And I withdraw to save myself and I let them cheer their victory while I'm silent as a lamb, freshly slaughtered. Okay, thank you. Um, and this one is the most recent piece that I wrote. It's called More. I waited a year so I could have a minute, and a minute is not very long. A minute can be quite special. It can hold a unique experience, which is only capable of happening right there and right then. It can bring an extraordinary encounter containing joys and wonders, bring it live and direct, straight to the heart, full to the brim. But as fast as it fills, it empties again. A minute is not very long. It feels even shorter the more I need to wait, and for this minute I waited a year. This minute was a tiny portion of a day, and the day was a magical, bountiful festival, bustling with words and speech and vision, overflowing with parallel performances, sprawling across the downtown streets, stacked up leg by leg by leg, more than any audience could ever absorb, so full that it's worth a year-long wait, so full that every minute holds depth and meaning and clear, bright revelation. But a minute is not very long. As I stroll step by step from one venue to the next, the buildings are not the walls of my room. The sky is not the ceiling of my room. I'm in a different city, a long way from home. There are people who gather from near and from far. Some people I know or I'm getting to know. There are people around who are never around, and they're here, and I'm here, and we're here. Finally, face to face. So natural, with no screens in between. It's true, these beings, these poets exist. They sign their books. They give me hugs. It's all authentic. I feel warm. I feel glad for this time that we have, for this chance encounter in the midst of so much, for this portion of a day that holds all a day can, this special connection that lasts about a minute that is not very long. But a year of waiting and 4 hours of driving were necessary and justified for this day of reading and hearing and sharing, facing challenges worthy of the sacrifices to surmount them, until the momentum is drained by my body, my stubbornly, chronically ill body, my treacherous body, whose needs I must serve, which decides now it has to retreat and withdraw, with two whole legs of the event still in store, still going on, still wonderfully real, still happening close in every direction, still packed with brilliant visionary poets, shriveling in the rear view mirror as I scurry back home, head held low, back to my bed, the center of my life, where I am bound beneath the yoke of my chronic fatigue, the invisible barrier which keeps me home to recuperate from my huge energy expenditure, staying still and waiting to collect what there is of my life again. Wait and remember these special minutes. Replay them for the comfort they still manage to bring me. I hold each minute in my head like a half empty glass. It's easy to replay them over and over as many times as I want to. It's easy because a minute is not very long. Thank you. I
Thank you.
have
And
one more and it's short.
oh, good. I was just gonna let you know about that. Thank you. I'm wondrous, happy. I'm gonna mute me.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, here we go. This piece is called Flutter. The counterweight slides back and forth, pushed and pulled by hydraulic pistons that adjust the center of gravity and allow the skyscraper to lean into the wind. A network of electronic sensors constantly feeds information into the mainframe computer that oversees all the building's functions, monitoring its exact position and making precise adjustments to neutralize the force of the airflow to enable this structure to stand taller and prouder above all else, to announce its power and surpass all else. The system is state of the art. It has weathered every challenge until now. The wind is rising, the wind is crying, the wind is raging until the counterweight can no longer compensate, and the skyscraper flexes and tilts and shrugs, and cracks bloom at the seams of the foundation. They spread until a grid of rebar erupts from the splitting concrete as this gaudy eyesore, this center of attention of wealth and status, runs up against the invisible push of 10,000 tons of gale force air and is defeated. And the skyscraper breaks and topples and shatters. It's a long way down, but once this is in motion, not even all the king's men could stop it. And the wind that blankets the planet far away from this focal point, through the warm and cold fronts, through the tempests and the breezes, connecting every zone of the atmosphere to every other zone. Far away across the globe come the currents that collect and cohere, and each gust is born from smaller currents, which emerge from currents still more subtle, and far away in a land which has been marginalized in every way it could, in a certain spot where the trees are thick because the northern colonizers have not quite reached them yet. Upon a branch, astride a leaf, sits a butterfly, small but effective. Yes, she is tiny, and the building was huge. The building stood alone, and she is one of many. He spreads her wings again to initiate another airflow, as if to say, now let's really see what we can do. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Um, and I do have a chapbook you can buy if you're interested.
Well, let me have people unmute and give you a cheer. I want to do that, and then you make sure you put that in the chat, and then you can let us know about it too.
Yay! Woo!
Yeah.
I wanted to do this. That's great.
Bravo!
Woo!
Heather, your poems get more and more necessary and more vivid and needed and essential the more I hear them. You're just so powerful. Like,
Thank you. I'm going to keep writing them as long as I have places to share them.
please, please.